Good afternoon. This is the water meeting of Wednesday, January the 17th. We're starting. I'm going to be taking roll call. My name's Yolanda Melbourne. I'm the Deputy Clerk at the Township of Elmwick-Haldeman. And currently we have Deputy Mayor Joan Stover, Councillor Greg Booth, who is also the Chair of the Water Committee, myself, Liam Craig, Adam Taggart, John Rohrbeck, Larry Sprika, Bruce Heitkamp, and Grant Parkinson, all in attendance, with regrets from Grit Cole, who couldn't be here today. We do have quorum, and we are now ready to begin.
Okay, there's the mic. Welcome back, everybody. This is our first meeting in 2024. Hope everybody had a nice vacation off and back to hard work. Now, here we go. Okay, roll call was taken, right? Disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature, therefore. Anybody? No, nobody's hand up. Okay. Territorial land agreement? Yeah, that's next. The territorial land agreement. Before our meeting gets underway, I would like to formally recognize the traditional keepers of this land and specifically our neighbors of the Elderville First Nation with a formal territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Alnwick-Haldeman is located on the Mississauga-Assinnibock territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga-Assinnibock. The township of Alnwick-Haldeman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Okay. Oh, I see. Thank you, Liam, for correcting me. I ordered. So now we're at 4. Approval of the agenda is circulated. Approval of the January 17th, 2024 agenda. Be it resolved that the agenda for the January 17th meeting of the Grafton Communal Water Committee be approved as circulated. Could I have a mover, please? Liam Craig, seconded by Deputy Mayor Joan Stover. All in favor? Carried. Number 5, approval of the minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of the November 15th, 2023 Grafton Communal Water Committee meeting be approved. Mover, please. Liam Craig, seconder John. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from those previous minutes from anybody? Joan, go ahead.
I just had one thing through your Mr. Chair, and it was an update where we're standing on the RPF for the water modeling study, as well as the new water bylaw.
You want to comment, Yolanda?
Sure. Through the chair. So currently everything's been put on hold for a minute, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. There has been some transition in the clerk's department, and there's only one clerk available now at this point in time. The resolution that was passed at the last water committee meeting pertaining to having the deputy clerk go through the water bylaws and condense it should actually go to council for their approval as well, so that they know that the deputy clerk will be busy working on that kind of project, just so they're aware. So that will be going on our next regular council agenda for approval by council. I am currently reviewing and looking at those documents, but because of time constraints, it's kind of been delayed. Like I said, there's only one clerk now. My priorities have changed a little bit, where we're focused on getting meeting minutes and agendas and that kind of thing out the door. And projects are kind of being put on hold a little bit. So unfortunately, that's the case, but we do have the position posting out there for a new clerk. And within the next month, hopefully, we'll have another person on board and we can get things rolling.
Thank you. That's what I knew that's what you were gonna say, Len. I totally understand that through you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to keep it live, that's all. Thank you.
Yep. And I'll bring up something on the minutes. There was a correspondence from Adam re the sign at the water plant. And us as a committee, we recommended to council and council approved that. And I forgot to tell Adam that back in December, I think it was the 12th, could have been, that we approved it, but I did remind him now that we approved it. So Adam's going ahead and going to get the sign made up and installed. And so that's good. Okay, if there's no other business arising from the previous minutes, number 7, financial report. Be it resolved that the budget to actual to November 30th, 2023 comparison report be received and filed. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Joan, seconded by Liam. Nicole?
Yeah, I'm here. I just can't seem to get my video to work. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the financials that are in front of you are to the end of November. We're currently working on getting the rest of the December numbers in. I also sent out to anybody who hasn't been on their email yet today. I had a request from both Adam and from Grant looking for the status on the well project. So I did send out an email this afternoon that does have the updated details with regards to the well project. We did get the invoice in from G. Hart and Sons Well Drilling, and so that has been obviously our largest expense thus far, and there's been just under $280,000 spent on the $1.7 million well project at the moment. So I just wanted to give an update on that, and if anybody has any further questions either on the financials or to do with the well project, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Does anybody have any questions on the budget to actual? Seeing none. The question for you, Nicole. So our next meeting, which is in March, right? These numbers would be finalized, right? For the 2023 budget, all the numbers, everything would be in, the invoices paid and everything?
Correct. We'll have had all the 2023 numbers in, other than any adjustments that the auditors might make when they come in. But for the most part, they should be, reliable, and we should have our final billings from Lucy and such in for the end of December. Just one other comment would be is that for Lucy and any of our other consultants, if you can start to get your numbers together for the 2024 year, so we can start to establish the water budget. It is always approved after the general budget because the impact on the levy is nil. However, it is something that I will be starting to work on. So just keep that in mind. And once I have some templates, I will get them out to you as soon as I can.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Joan.
Just through you, Mr. Chair. The pump house roof, I didn't see that it was completed for repair. Do we need a new roof on the pump house?
Larry? Larry or Adam?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Had to find my mute button. Sorry about that. Yeah, we do. We have, there's been a leak and it's been growing a little bigger each year and all that, and we've sort of been keeping an eye on it. The roof is beyond its life expectancy and we should be replacing it. I sort of let this one slip, but we should have had it done this year, but we'd like to carry it forward for next year, if possible.
So Larry, you'll note that in your budget notes, right, to Nicole?
Yes, it'll be a
roll it
carryover,
over.
yes.
Go ahead, Joan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, are you still thinking it would be around the $10,000 for that roof?
It didn't say, I thought it was more than that.
Oh, maybe it was 20. I don't know.
I thought it was 30, or what was it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the roof replacement.
It's in the budget at just under 34,000.
Yeah, 34, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I can't
Yeah.
go on it, but yeah.
I'm
Good.
sure they'll revise it if it, just to update it to prices. could
Yeah.
change. Not likely downwards, but
Let's hope it does, yeah.
Mhm.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Number 8. Correspondence from Larry Sprika, manager of the Water Capital Projects, Lucy, re Grafton Drinking Water System 2023 Operations Report, reporting period from November to December 2023. Be it resolved that the correspondence from Larry Sprika, manager of the Water Capital Projects, Lucy, re Grafton Drinking Water System 2023 Operations Report, reporting period November to December 2023, be received and filed, and further that the report be forwarded to the Council of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Liam Craig, seconded by Joan Stover. Go ahead, Larry.
Adam, could you do this one, since you're there?
Sure, I can do this one. This is a very short report for a very short reporting period. November, December's flows are there. They're downwards as you expect seasonally with no flushing. The new production well project updates, you'll get in depth from Grant, and Bruce, no doubt. So I shouldn't really touch on that. We've scheduled annual hydrant flushing and valve exercising to begin 29th of April. No service repairs, no hydrant repairs whatsoever. On a compliance note, January 3rd, 2024, Neil Hamilton of MECP conducted a surprise inspection, unannounced inspection rather, the Grafton water system. I continue to share document requests with Mr. Hamilton as he works through the inspection process, and Bruce has been nice enough to help me with some of the stuff I've been looking for as well.
Okay, any questions from anybody regarding Larry's report? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, correspondence from Grant Parkinson. Be it resolved that the correspondence from Grant Parkinson, GM Blue Plan, re Grafton Well Replacement, Project Status Report 3 be received and filed. Can I have a mover, please? Liam Craig, seconded by John. Grant, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So yeah, since our previous meeting, we've I think reached a good milestone in the project. The new well has been drilled, and we had a lot of water, and Greer Galloway and their hydrogeologist working fairly extensively through November and December, doing a series of long-term tests on the well. They did some well pumping and development of the well, some step tests, and long-term steady state pumping tests. And Bruce was involved in a number of sampling programs there to test the quality of the well. Well, a lot of water was monitoring just the flow and drawdown, sort of the quantity coming out of the well. So all that testing took place over a period of about 3 weeks. There was a number of tests that need to be done to prove out the suitability of a new municipal water source. So far, all the sort of the preliminary results we have in hand were very favorable and very successful. So it looks like this well, I think we'd probably say it's has been successful. So that's we're very fortunate and lucky there. It was there's always an element of risk when you drill a well for new groundwater. But I think that's a testament to all those involved, especially like Bruce Heatkamp and Chris Rancourt, the hydrogeologist, and others in selecting a good spot to drill the well and find good quality water. So I think the next step is basically like we have Greer Galloway as the general consultant for the project, and what the next milestone deliverable for the project will be for them to prepare like a formal hydrogy report, which will compile and organize all of the results of all the testing over those several weeks through November and December. And in that, what we're expecting to see is sort of an overall conclusion about the suitability of the well as a new replacement water source for the well PW1. And they will confirm the Goody status of the well, which is groundwater under the direct influence of surface water, and basically just what that means. That defines whether the groundwater source in the aquifer is secure from general contamination from the surface, and I think it likely will be considered as secure groundwater. The other wells are, so we expect this one will be also. I don't know if that's officially been determined, but I think all the initial results indicate that the well has been good. And one of the key drivers, I guess, of this project in the first place was that our existing well 1 has high ammonia. That's the well that's right beside the plant. And all of the test results that have come back on this new well, I guess we're calling it well PW3, I think, show low ammonia. That was probably the key water quality parameter that we were looking at. So that's good. It indicates that the level of ammonia was low, similar to well number 2, and that's the only well that Grafton's been running on for the last many years. So yeah, so like I said, the next phase will be for Greer Galloway to document all those findings formally in a hydrogeological report, to define exactly the sort of the final status of the well as a new municipal water source. And I believe part of that will be there'll have to be an application for like a permanent water permit or permit to take water for that water source. And then I'm not sure exactly the schedule on when they're to submit that. I think it should be soon. And then once that phase of the project is done, basically the hydrogeological and water source part, the main efforts and focus of the overall project will shift to more conventional civil engineering, where they'll be looking at putting in a pipeline to bring raw water from that well into the plant, and do some like piping and valving modifications inside the plant to integrate that new well into the treatment plant.
Okay. That's it, Grant?
Yes, that's all.
Okay. Before I ask Bruce if he's got anything to talk about too, all in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The percent completed budget was 16.7% from Nicole. What would you say your percent complete of the project is so far, roughly?
I would say it's roughly about the same. I don't know precisely, like exactly 16.7% on the physical, but it's about the same. It may even be a little bit further on the physical completion side, but they're basically in line.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor? Okay. Bruce, do you have any comments to make? Because I don't see you on the agenda at all, but in case you wanted to say something in regards to what Grant was talking about.
I think Grant covered it all. The well is very successful. Just a couple of little dates. There, when you build a new well, there's a number of unknowns. A lot of things can go wrong. You could have problems with the contractor. You could have equipment breakdowns, well interference, not hitting the aquifer, water quality issues. But this project went very well. Timing was a little bit delayed with getting the well screened, but the well was built, finalized in November. It's a stainless steel well. So it's a new type of construction, so it should last quite a while, the casing. And it is completed to a depth of 257 feet. We tested it. We had some hiccups getting the permit to take water, but we managed to get that in place. We convinced the Ministry of the Environment allowed us to use our existing permit to take water for the pumping test. And that was a new one for me, but it allowed the project to proceed. And let's see, so we did the step test on November 29th. And then the following week, we did a 3-day aquifer performance test. And the well performed well. And we pumped it at 870 liters a minute, which is roughly 230 gallons per minute. That's US gallons. And let's see, and we did a sand-free test after the pumping test. The well is sand-free at pump startup. That's very important. And so the well was very successful. And one small thing I had to add, we were always looking at the MRF well. We wanted to do a few small improvements. So since the contractor was there, we were under budget. We and that's another thing too with the well contractor. I'm pretty sure we're under budget. I haven't looked at the numbers, but Greer Galloway reported that they were under budget for what was estimated and or bid on. And we took advantage of a thing that we cut out of there. We cut out some geophysical logging, and I had them go to the MRF and secure that well better for us. It's an important well to monitor aquifer water levels. So there's an old pump in there that's not used, and we removed the pump. We did a short pumping test on that well. I think we found out that it only makes 10 gallons a minute. It's not a lot of water. And we collected a sample and secured some of the piping so that there wouldn't be any draining from that well to the MRF or back and forth. So the MRF is the only thing I had to add. Oh, and we did get the updated permits to take water. I guess I should add that the for the existing wells. And what we have to wait for Greer Galloway's report before we can submit an amendment to that by adding PW3. So the plan is to swap PW1, PW3 with PW3. I think we're not going to decommission number one or at this point. And we may just use it as a monitoring well. I think we have in the budget to decommission one of the wells, and I can't recall if we said to decommission test well 3 or PW1. I'll have to look at that. But either one of those wells are going to serve as a long-term monitoring well for aquifer water levels. Does anybody have any questions?
Go ahead, John.
The money that was spent on the MRF, will it go against the well budget or a different budget?
The well budget. It was the pumping test was done by a subcontractor called Bottle Water, and since we had them on site, I thought it was prudent to but wiggle room on the budget to secure the MRF well.
How much was that roughly?
I you know what, I never did get the number. I kept bugging them, and I just said I needed it to be less than what we cut. We cut what was called a cement bond log. It was going to be difficult to do that geophysical logging because of the deep static, and he said it wouldn't be any more than cement bond log, and I'm sorry I don't have that cost.
You know what ballpark?
I was gonna say $5,000.
That's all I want to know is just a ballpark,
Yeah.
not 50,000.
No.
Okay,
Any other questions?
I think Larry's got a question.
Yeah, hey Bruce, yeah, I thought we were going to decommission PW one. And then also the other monitoring well, but if we're going to keep one for monitoring, we should keep the other one and decommission PW one. And then we can disconnect all the piping and everything that goes to the plant.
I think there was a question that came up a while ago regarding
Yeah.
the annular space on the wells. And I can't remember if it was PW1 or test well 3. So those are the two wells that we're going to have in surplus.
Yeah.
I'd have to get back to you. I thought it was test well 3 because we had better control over how PW1 was constructed.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess now when we connect PW3 now, we'll just maybe what we can do is just connect it to the existing PW1 system when we get beyond that and get close to the building. And then that way we wouldn't have to worry about changing much inside.
Okay. Yeah, and you want to make sure that you're not like 20 years down the road, somebody goes, I want to put, why don't we put PW1 back in service? We want to kind of you don't want to make it easy for them to do that.
True. All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Chair.
Go ahead, John.
so based on that same discussion, I heard, get back to you, but can we, I don't know if we put it on the next agenda, an item, but to make sure we have the full understanding of PW1 versus test well 3, which one is going to be decommissioned and why?
So
Okay.
Bruce, can you have that on the next meeting for?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make
Thank
a note of it.
And maybe also to get back to us on the next meeting with the exact cost of what it was for that MRF thing, just so that we're not surprised with a $50,000 bill. Go ahead,
Okay.
Amanda.
Through the chair, can I have a motion to that effect, please?
Okay, somebody make a motion. John, you make the motion, and it was,
A report that's going to come to us for the next meeting, determining what well is going to be decommissioned and reasons why.
can I get a seconder? Seconded by Liam.
Sorry, would that include costs too or not?
Please include costs.
Is that
Estimates.
what he's saying, Bruce? Is that included in our budget that we have right now, that they're closing that up, one of them?
I'm pretty sure it is. I know it was a busy scramble when the bid came out because there was a few things missing. One of them was the MRF. I was kind of, we forgot to address the MRF well, and kind of took advantage of that when we cut the geophysics out for the cement bond log.
Well, you can get back to us on it,
I'll have
but
to get
John would
back
just
to-
like
yeah,
to know
yeah,
if
yeah.
it was covered and what and the cost.
Okay.
And I guess maybe I gotta add one other note, going on another tangent. It's always been a question and how these wells can have a slight different water quality. Being so close to each other and drawdown and all that stuff. And I don't know, I think, so the question always came up about the annular space, like were they properly sealed or is it getting surface contaminants? And I don't think it's that. I think it's just there's if I had to say, sweet spots in the aquifer. I think if your well is completed in the top portion of it, which PW3 was, I think it has a bit better water quality in terms of ammonia. PW3 now and PW2 have better ammonia. So I think in the long run, the community is going to be better served with the new well and PW2.
Okay, that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay, Liam, go ahead.
Just a question with regard to PW1. So if I'm understanding, PW1 went down further into the aquifer, or the aquifer was lower, and that's why we had the ammonia issues or mineral issues?
I think so. And I need to do, an examine the, and maybe I should do it on my next one, is examine the elevations, the completed elevations. And it's just, you get the other engineer and hydrogeologist there and they see something that, you've been looking at for the last 20 years. And it was just, an interesting, comment about the black sand. And when we were drilling, I noticed to the depth, the sand went from gray to black.
Right.
And, I've been waiting for a smoking gun to help me out with this ammonia issue. And I don't think it's a surface water issue. I think it's the depth of the aquifer. It's these black lens of sand that might be the contributor to this ammonia. So we avoided it. We knew it was there, PW3, and we avoided screening that. In fact, we shortened the screen by a foot just to give us adequate separation, which isn't a lot, but you don't want to cut back on your screen length when you're trying to get a few hundred gallons a minute. So anyways, maybe that's something else I should do at the next meeting is this, take it's more of like a side interest look at the completed depths. Are they, just 5 feet of each other, or the exact depth, or, one higher than the other? I think it's worth, but I was kind of waiting, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I was kind of waiting for Greer Galloway to put something in the report, and maybe we can, if it's not there, ask them to examine that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? No?
Maybe
Okay.
Chair Booth, I just
Yeah.
make also one mention just to thank Adam and Larry's staff at Lucy. They had adjusted the operation of the plant while this testing was going on. So they were very accommodating. That helped, that it didn't cause any secondary interference with the test results. They were able to top up the reservoirs and keep the wells idle for several days each time. So that helped everybody out a lot. So thanks to Larry and Adam and his staff for doing that, for helping with the testing.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry and Adam. Thank you.
Well, thanks all around to Grant and to Bruce and Lucy. Thank you very much. It's all good news. And I think we can probably, Joan mentioned something at the next council meeting that so far everything's running nice and smooth and successful. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, number 9.
Paul has a question.
Oh, another question? Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
I actually just wanted to make a comment. I know there was some discussion around the costs with regard to decommissioning the existing wells. And I have the notes from the well replacement RFP meeting from July 5th of 2022. And it does show that the approved budget included $50,000 for decommissioning the existing wells. So that's what's in the budget at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you, Nicole. You got that, John? Okay, thank you again all around. Number 9. Oh. Which motion was?
Number 8.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Thank you. I thought it was on grants, which we already had voted, but we're good. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, this one here, the next item is just an information for the Water Committee, but I'll read it out. Whereas the Council of the Township of Alnwick-Alderman considered bylaw number 38-2023 from the Northumberland County being a bylaw to enforce cross connections and protected with backflow prevention devices at the regular council meeting of January the 9th, 2024. And whereas the council directed the deputy clerk to include the Northumberland County bylaw on the next meeting agenda of the Grafton Communal Water Committee. Be it resolved that the Grafton Communal Water Committee received the Northumberland County bylaw 38-2023 for information. So just so you know, it came up at council that county is made a bylaw to talk about cross contaminations. I did go down and see Nick, the CBO, to talk about it, and he said it hasn't yet been decided who's going to enforce it or whether or not we have to make a bylaw too regarding it or whatever. So there will be more information coming in the future. There's nothing to really report now, and I just spoke with Adam. I don't know if you want to make a comment, Adam, that anything about this to.
We continue to monitor what's coming in from the county, and we presume that they're going to put a plan in place to enforce it over the coming, I don't know, months or years.
Yeah. So it was more information, just it was water related, so we thought it was good to come up here. If you actually want to see the whole written bylaw or whatever, you can go see Yolanda. She could email it to you, the 10 pages of what the fines are and stuff like that. It's in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So there's nothing to vote on that one. Oh, okay. So can I have a mover and a seconder to receive for information?
You could.
First by John, seconded by Joan. All in favor? Carried. Housing Enabling Water System Fund. Whereas the Grafton Communal Water Committee reviewed correspondence received from the Office of David Piccini, MPP, relating to provincial funding available in 2024, highlighting information pertaining to the Housing Enabling Water System Fund and the news release dated November 9th, 2023, relating to Ontario investing in critical infrastructure. Be it resolved that the Grafton Communal Water Committee receive the correspondence for information. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Liam Craig, seconded by John. Discussion. Go ahead, Joan.
Through you, Mr. Chair. And I know we had spoke about this, just discussing it and hoping that this is where we could get the elevated water storage. Would that be, Adam, would that be your understanding as well in through there?
Go ahead, Adam.
Through the chair, certainly there is an opportunity for funding for an elevated storage project. The groundwork at this point for an elevated storage project, as far as feasibility engineering, is all very much hasn't begun. The first step for something like that would likely be to look at a feasibility study. I have a friend who's a fairly well-known tower specialist. He's engineer. And I was asking him, you know, what first steps might be for us to go and look for funding on something like this for Grafton or on Grafton's behalf. He had given me a few pointers. I shared some very basic high-level documents where he said, you know, at some point there is a feasibility study, how in depth that goes, whether it involve hydrogeological, which is a larger cost, or a very summary desktop kind of idea, to try and get an idea of what Grafton could do to go after funding like this. Now, currently, when the grant application process hasn't even opened here. So unsolicited, this gentleman, he was with SEMA. He's now formed his own group this year, Arctos Engineering, unsolicited and without any cost to Grafton, actually came up with a proposal with some options, what it would look like, what quick costing might look like for a desktop study, quotations. Naturally, he has also included his and his partners CVs, etc. I think they're certainly looking for business as a fairly new engineering group. But I thought that I would share this with the water committee as information for first steps. At least there's no obligation, but it certainly provides an idea of what the very first step might be before heading into something that's more in depth with hydrogeo, et cetera, or even taking a step of releasing an RFP or looking at preliminary engineering, which is a six-figure cost, to be realistic. So I asked what the first step is and I have it for the committee. I can certainly give you written copies if that's something you'd like.
So, and I'll take questions just so everybody's up to date. So this grant that's available, I think it's February and March, which realistically, there's no way we're going to be ready to get anything. But we brought it up here because we'd like to discuss it with the committee and hopefully we come forward with an agreement or something that at least if we find out what the approximate cost of a feasibility study is, we can put that in the budget with Nicole so that we can work on that. And historically in the past, I mean, you have to be sort of shovel ready, ready to go, have all the, we have no data, we have no research, we have nothing to present for the, you know, for the grant opportunity, which means it's very low probability you're going to get anything. But we're looking at planning for the future that we've talked about it, that it would be great for us maybe to put it in the budget and let's get rolling with that one. Go ahead, Liam.
And is it possible that the grant opportunities that become available might pay for some of the studies we need going forward?
I haven't seen the specific grant criteria. At some times, yes, that certainly is the case. At other times, they're excluded to, we're going to put it to a capital project that is building as opposed to study, engineering, and preparation. At this point, Minister Puccini let us know in about October at Lucy that this would be coming down the pipe, which spurred some of the conversations that we've had for an elevated tower, so that we could prepare ourselves. Until I see the criteria for the grant, your guess is as good as mine.
And just before I take your question, John, we will look into seeing if we could get the water modeling maybe covered under this, because that RFP hasn't gone out yet, right? For the water modeling and stuff like that. So Liam, we're looking at maybe, depending on what the criteria is, we could get that paid for. And we also talked about, what was it, Grant? There was the water modeling, but what was the other study that?
So this might be an opportunity if the grant comes out, not only to look at a water model, but a master plan.
Yes.
And you might have an opportunity for a feasibility study for a tower, depending on the criteria. So there is an opportunity where you have enough things in the various stages of development that as grant opportunities come out over the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, you have staged projects that are study versus engineering plan versus perhaps a capital work in and of itself, which we've seen with the well already.
Yeah. John, go ahead. You had a question before.
I'm not a grant person, so I don't understand this terminology. So I'm going to ask him. I don't know. But in here, it says a capital grant is your February to March timeframe you talked about. But then it says a seed grant. They don't know when it's going to open, but it's going to close June 26th. And then there's a grow grant. And it goes up to November 6th. Anybody know what seed and grow are? A capital, I understand.
Adam?
Yeah, the specific criteria, there was an email came out that had a specific link. It's to the Trillium Foundation's website. And the criteria there are for seed, grow, etc. Seed and grow, one of them is a community based. They're looking for recreation. The current grant opportunities as of yesterday on the Trillium site wouldn't be applicable to the water system here in Grafton that I could find a tie. When this next stage comes out, which is critical infrastructure and housing, that would have a definite tie.
Go ahead, John.
When is the one that you just mentioned, housing? When is that due? When are we gonna know more about it? Any idea?
Minister Puccini's office has not given us an indication of that. And certainly infrastructure, they've said it's coming. And the next step usually within this is they announce that the grant will be open at a specific date. It usually precedes 3 weeks to a month.
Go ahead, John.
I'm concerned that all of a sudden they're gonna say grant date and we're not ready for it again. I don't know how we can do anything about that. And just, all of a sudden someone's gonna say, well, here's where we can go get money for the tower or the planning or something. but it's due a month from now, we're not ready for it. And I don't know, and again, I don't know what we can do about that, but how do we prepare ourselves to be ready for these sort of things if we're not gonna have much time and it takes a fair bit of effort even on the clerk side to do this.
Well, I know Yolanda and the staff, the CAO, Dave and Nicole, every Monday, they look at any grant opportunities that come up and they send it to council too. It's kind of hard to apply for a grant if it's not even out there in the criteria yet, right?
Yep.
Hopefully, like Adam said, we could look at when that comes out, that if we could get the water modeling and that type of grant done, that would be pretty simple, I think, to do things like that, the water modeling and the things like that, because they're just studies that get done. So, you know, you could use the growth in Grafton and everything else going on in that. The other one with the tower, I think is much larger. It's not something that's going to be done in a couple of months. Go ahead. Adam.
The township has done an excellent job over the years of preparing for these things. Certainly the well project was years in the making. You have undertaken to begin to write look for a water model and an RFP, which is the next step. You're now looking at, okay, we also will need a master plan, and you're certainly at a stage here, and you're now looking at a proposal for water expansion for storage, elevated storage. The neat thing about grants is if you miss this one, the next one will be along in the stage that you're in. So you're right in the middle of building something for over $1 million that you've just received a grant for. You're preparing an RFP for another initiative, and you're looking at a master plan and a study for feasibility in the pipeline. So you have a preparation of pipeline of capital projects, and Rome wasn't built in a day, but you'll certainly step along the way. I feel the urgency as you do, but I think that the township is working proactively and staging this very well.
It is tough, John, and being on the water committee the last time I was here when we first did the application for the well and was turned down. And it was something, the same questions were asked then. We've got to rush, we got to get it all done and everything. It was turned down. The next time, a year later, like Adam said, it came up again. We were fully prepared. We had everything done. And lo and behold, it was an election time too, which made it even better. And both the federal and provincial government then were willing to chip in, which was great. So I look at the water tower one as more a long-term thing, and hopefully the grants that we put money into the budget for the water modeling and stuff like that. And hopefully we can apply for those and get those if the criteria is for that.
Okay.
But we're working on it. It's slow, and we're all on this committee for the next, how much longer is it, Yolanda? 3 more years, 2 more years? 2? Okay.
Sorry, Chair, if I could
Yes.
just interject through the chair. So yeah, you're right. The grants are very, they're hard to to do, right? There's a lot of criteria, there's a lot of things, and we don't know when they're coming out. So that's why they say you need to be shovel ready when it comes to these grants, right? So in my mind, that means we should already be planning for these things. And like you said, it's already in the budget. We have a plan to spend X amount of dollars on it already. A grant comes up that can help us with that. Boom. Hopefully we can have that RFP pretty much developed by the time this grant comes out and available, so we can at least apply and try to put that towards it, saying that we've done X amount already on it. And as long as they can see that you have either started something, it's in the budget, and you're already working on something going forward, we have a better chance of maybe getting something.
Makes sense. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. We voted on that one, Yolanda, did we? Be it resolved that the Grafton Communal Water Committee received the correspondence for information. Can I have a mover? Moved by Liam. Oh, okay. All in favor? Okay, number 11, new business for future discussion. I just wanted to ask you then, Adam, when you talked about the tower and that, and I can't recall I've been looking at so many notes and everything. Did he give us what a ballpark figure would be for feasibility study for that? What was it? Can you? I'm just wondering whether it's worth our while, committee, that we recommend whatever that number is, if it's reasonable, that we put it in the budget, since Nicole is looking at the 2024 budget, that we do that now.
Yes, so what I see for project fees here for a recommendation was $17,900 and change, with a $4,600 provisional. So it looks like about,
20.
$25,000 by the time you get there.
So Nicole, would we be able to have you put that in the budget? Do you want it to come from the water committee as a recommendation that we look at that, just so that we can cover ourselves, that if the opportunity comes up in 2024, that we've already got the money and we're ready to move on that? How would you like us to do that?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Okay, so if we can have somebody make a motion that we, moved by Liam, seconded by John. And you can make it sound pretty, Yolanda, that water committee recommends
Okay.
$25,000 in the 2024 water budget for feasibility study regarding the elevated tower. Any questions, concerns? Everybody in favor? All in favor. Thank you. That's good. That starts us at least,
Yeah,
that we can.
got it in there.
Might I suggest presenting the proposal to council so that they have an idea where the numbers come from and what exactly it involves
Yeah,
for
If
information?
you give that to me, when the
Absolutely.
next council meeting, I'll ask Yolanda to put something in there for me to speak, me and Joan to speak about. I wanted to give them an update about the well. And then sort of just to talk about the tower a little bit, to say, we're recommending that this money go in there and the reasons why, just this brief discussion that we had. Just so that they know. I don't want the other council members saying, well, where'd you come up with $25,000? What's it for? What are we talking about?
So rather than just this recommendation, are we also going to ask maybe that Adam provide some sort of report that we can forward to council?
Yeah.
Do you want
Sure.
him to provide a report for the next meeting? Do you want that included in this motion?
Sure, I think so.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that way we have something substantial that council can actually look at, and if they have any questions, they'll know where the numbers came from.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, the water budget, which is usually done after our town budget, council votes on that to accept the water budget?
Yeah, so it will come to the water committee, and then once you have approved it, then it gets recommended to take it to council for final approval.
Okay, thank you. So that's good that we include that, just so that they get to have a look at it and read it over and everything too. Good idea, Yolanda. Thank you. Okay, so that was good. Is there any other new business for future discussion? Nothing else? Anybody from any, go ahead, Bruce. Can't hear you.
I'm having trouble turning off my mute button. I just, while we were meeting here, I pulled up the new permit to take water that was issued. There's a couple of items that I think that we need to look into. The monitoring conditions are essentially the same, so except for they now want extra samples with the municipal wells. And maybe we that's something that Lucy and myself have to look at. So they've expanded the parameter list. Like we had a set parameter list, and I've just noticed that they've expanded it for quite a few items. Anyways, and then one other item is they want quarterly sampling of those the monitoring wells in between the production wells and the landfill. We sample them manually, but the quarterly samples are for VOCs and BTECs. And I don't know, when we initially started, this was actually a requirement. I think we had to do quarterly samples at the monitoring wells, and we asked for a reduction. I think we reduced it to semi-annual, and then we reduced it down to annual, and now it's come back to quarterly again. I don't know if we want to submit a comment or concern, or just, it's not a bad thing. We had the toluene was there was a increase in that, but that settled down back in 2020, I believe. So that's maybe where that's coming from. And what was another extra item? Oh, I noticed that they also put that we had to look at the Murph well, pull the pump and secure it, measure the depth and all that good stuff, and we've already beat them to the punch. But I guess maybe the new business is the additional sampling.
So Bruce, do you communicate that then, Larry, you would put that into the 2024 budget instead of us doing annual? If we're doing quarterly, that we up the testing budget just so that we're not short, and we wonder why at the end of 2024 we didn't.
The quarterly
come through?
sampling with my part, like they want me to sample more, those monitoring wells.
So who puts that number, Bruce, in the budget? Is that you put it in, or is it Lucy
I
puts
put
it
it in. I put it
Okay.
in.
So if
And
you
then-
communicate that to Nicole, that would be good. We want to stay
Okay.
on top of it. We want to have correct numbers that we're putting in the budget, right?
And then I see that Lucy's gonna have to budget a bit more for water quality parameters. So they've got quite an extensive list here.
Okay, John?
So I have a question, and I was here through the quarterly, going to half a year, going to a year. Now we're coming back to quarterly. Can we not say why? Why are we going back to quarterly when we got it back? We got to a year. And
That's
I
a
don't know
good
how much money it's gonna be to go to quarterly, but I'm sure it's 4 times whatever yearly was, and I don't know what that number is, but I think we should be saying why. And say, we want to stay at yearly or semi-yearly, not go back to quarterly, or what's your reason for this? Can we go that route?
Do you say that, Larry, or is that Bruce that
Well-
brings that concern up for us?
I think we both can, but I'm on the same page as Bruce there because of the toluene that we had, and we had to do all that extra sampling, and then they made us do B-Tex. Bruce there the last month of the year, and we were doing those samples. I think it's just a carry forward. It's like everything else with the environment that they're starting to tighten the screws on everything, and then they can make these changes when they make the renewals for the permit to take water or licensing and all that. We see things that are coming down the pipe that eventually will affect our licensing when the next time that we come to renewal. So I think it's just them getting overcautious, making sure that the groundwater systems do not get impacted by anything. And it gives you a good baseline, even though it costs you money for a baseline. But if you have a good baseline and then something happens, oddly, like Bruce was saying that toluene showed up or something, at least we have a baseline of maybe a couple years, and then it's one of those, maybe it's just a one-off.
And I agree with your concerns, John. I guess what I'm concerned about too is I'd rather have it in the budget as a quarterly, and then at the end of the year, it's only semi-annually or annually, and we save money instead of the other way around, which is we just put in the budget for annual, and then at the end of the year, we're scratching our head why we're $10,000 over or whatever. Go ahead, John.
I understand that, but if we just say we're going to quarterly, I still would like to hear someone is asking why going to quarterly. That's all.
So is that possible, Larry and Bruce, that we do, whoever's asking us to do that, to maybe say, why would we have to do that? I guess if it's the government and they're forcing you to do it, you have to do it, but
I think I know the answer to it. Why is because we had that spike, and then we were actually sampling, I think, weekly at that point, till we got a handle on it. And Sorry, monthly, I think monthly, and it took a while for it to dissipate and then it went back down, and why it popped up. It's almost like the ammonia. It's kind of strange. Groundwater can do odd things like that, but it's dissipated. But I think they're just being prudent and want us to keep an eye on it. And why it got reduced from quarterly before to semi and then annually is because we weren't seeing anything, and then all of this, 25 years goes by and then we have a detection.
Okay,
And then
go ahead.
also, Bruce, there when we had that spike that we met there with our MOE inspector at that time, and we met with the ministry from Kingston there, and they were talking about the sampling, and we were trying to, we'll do this for a short term, and then they says if it goes good like this for 6 months, we'll give you a relief on it. But I think some of this stuff comes back because they also, when you permit take water, they also do ask your ministry inspectors what they would like to see too. So you got ministries talking to each other, so this could be coming from that.
Go ahead, Liam.
Thank you. Through you,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, perhaps if it's phrased to the person who's requesting quarterly, could you please explain, is this because we're bringing a new water source on stream? Or and this can be cut back in the future, or is this something that we're expecting to do on a regular basis now and forever?
And I've added a bit more to the history of it. This one, there was a period there where there was the Mike Harris days, I guess, where they were trying to streamline and cut back a lot of expenses, and I think we fell into that. There was no expiry on the water taking permit. It was like called a forever green. Didn't have an expiry date, so now they're every 10 years you have to apply for a new one. So they were just trying to cut back costs and all this stuff, and they were trying to cut back like the monitoring requirements and all that. And then we had the Walkerton happened, and it kind of changed how they manage water supplies. I think there's more scrutiny put on water systems these days, and I don't see things getting reduced. They keep adding more requirements.
And I think in the end, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? I don't want anybody accusing that we don't want anybody accusing us of we were trying to, save a few $1,000s and found out that if we were doing the quarterly testing, we would have picked up something. So we'll go with what it is, if you can make sure that that's in the budget. And then if we're lucky and after a year that they say you can go back down to semi-annual or annual, then fine. But I think it has to come from them. But thank you, Jim.
And maybe this isn't a fight right now, or an argument right now, but maybe down the road when we go to add the new well, amend the permit, the existing permit, we could say, oh, by the way, can we go back to what we were previously monitoring?
Yeah.
I think I know the answer is going to be no, but I think maybe the time is we'll ask down the road.
Can always ask the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Is there anything else under new business for future discussion from anybody? Anybody from the gallery? No? Nothing, Nicole? Okay. The next meeting of the Grafton Communal Water Committee will be held on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024 at 3 p.m. in the council chambers at the Grafton Municipal Building and via Zoom. And can I have a motion to adjourn? Be it resolved that the Grafton Communal Water Committee adjourn at 4:07. Liam Craig, seconded by John, all in favor. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Grant, Bruce, Larry, and Adam for coming, and Nicole, thank you very much. Well informed, and me and Joan will catch council up on everything, all the good news. Thank you again.
Thanks, everybody. Take
Okay,
care.
thank
See
you,
you later.
everyone.
Be safe.
Thanks.